Just try to be your normal, humorous self, okay? The guy you were before the tailspin. Do you remember that guy? People love that guy. And don't forget, your novel is coming out in the fall.
Oh, really? How exciting. What's it called?
Come here, Mons. Come here. Do not sabotage me. If you want to be a fucking lightweight, then that's your call, but do not sabotage me.
Oh, aye, Captain, you got it.
And if they want to drink Merlot, we're drinking Merlot.
No, if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any Merlot.
Okay. Relax, Miles. No Merlot. Do not drink too much. Do you hear me? I don't want you passing out or going to the dark side. No going to the dark side.
Okay.
Did you bring your Xanax?
TBTM.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
It's Friday. Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
This show really improves with age.
Why? Because the jokes get better?
No, because my hearing gets worse.
Here, I had a bottle of vodka, or he had a bottle of vodka, but anyway, we were drinking vodka, and I was so happy that I found someone who would drink vodka with me, you know.
Hey, Johnny.
Oh, hi, Danny.
What's wrong with Mark?
He's cranky today.
All right. Let's toss the ball around.
A lot of the times what we like to tell people is that you have to let life bounce off of you. Yep. Right? And so we are going to do just that literally, in the literal sense.
All right. Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Friday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
WTF, why the face?
My name's Luke Burbank. I'm your host.
Hey, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I was too busy blocking out the haters.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia, where it's a foggy day, folks. It's a foggy Friday.
We've got the fog.
I went out yesterday morning kind of early to run the garbage can up the hill. I don't know why it's so hard for me on a Wednesday night to just, I don't know, roll the garbage up the hill at a time that it's not, I'm not racked with anxiety as I am on Thursday mornings, because I never know exactly when the garbage guy's going to show up, and I'm already kind of on his list. This is the guy that keeps writing things in grease pencil on my garbage can. But anyway, I got up Thursday morning kind of early to get the garbage up there, and there was a difference in the air. You can feel it. In the words of Phil Collins, she's an easy lover. Anyway, it's episode 4,548 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
Shout out to the three people who got that Phil Collins joke, that is. I went to something last night, a concert. It was a classical piano concert in the woods in Silver Falls State Park. And it was unbelievably classy.
That was the fanciest sentence I've ever heard. And I used to watch Frasier.
And also unbelievably fun. It was like one of the coolest things that I've been to in a long time. It's called In a Landscape. We'll talk about that a little bit today on the program. Also, starting this weekend, I am embarking on a bold new experiment.
It's unique. It's bold. It's ahead of the competition.
We are going to see if I can actually stick to this plan, which starts this weekend, involving me and a certain consumerism that's been going on in my life and creating great waste in my life for now too many years. So we'll talk about that. Oh, and we're going to talk to this guy. He's the longest-running co-bro of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
Are you sure? Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. I mean, I just want to point out, I consider Easy Lover to be more of a Philip Bailey song.
Yeah. It was weird because, and I don't know if you know this, I didn't write that joke down in advance. That was not a planned comedic moment.
No, I actually like that song. I got it. I actually really like that song. I didn't realize it was a Philip Bailey and Phil Collins co-joint.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, I did not know that. I would just thought of it as a Phil Collins song, but it sounds like you're more in the know.
In fact, Camaro Kev and I used to perform that song frequently at the Mandarin Gate, and depending on how much alcohol we had, which I'll be honest, it was a lot. It was never not a lot. So when I say depending on how much alcohol, that sounds like some nights there was zero alcohol and some nights there was a lot of alcohol. No, each night was a lot of alcohol. But But based on where either of us were in that particular journey, we would be vying for doing the easier of the two parts, which I believe the Phil Collins part is easier than the Philip Bailey part. The Philip Bailey part gets real high, real high. And I think sometimes Camaro would be like, we should do Easy Lover. And I would be, yes, but I cannot be Philip Bailey. And then he would be Philip Bailey. And then, we love that song. But the funny part was...
I've seen you guys do that way back,
have.
probably when we were first hanging out, and I didn't know Camaro Kev that well. I can picture you guys both on that little stage at what I like to call the old vibe. The Mandarin Gate. Yeah.
Life comes at you fast.
or very slowly and
all
stumbly. Yes, stumbly and all at once. But I can picture you because your hands would be in your pocket. One hand would be in the pocket, and both
always.
of you kind of struck that pose. I don't know.
I think Camaro Kev borrowed that from me, that kind of sort of, casual on-stage physicality that I'm known for. I feel he borrowed that from me.
I could actually see that. I don't know if you're joking or not, but I could sort of see that because I have seen you in radio situations as well. We've discussed this. I don't know if this makes you feel self-conscious, me bringing it up again. But I was very intrigued by your body language when you were hosting that Minnesota public radio show, and you had to they kind of threw you to the wolves. You're just hosting the main mid-morning call-in talk show in a market in a community where you don't really follow the local news while we were just visiting. And
Let's go to Tom in Bemidji.
And I walked by the studio, and I know that you were live on the air. And I don't think were your feet up on the desk. You were doing something and I was like, wow, you're very chill. You're like, sometimes I need to physically. Tell me if this doesn't strike you as me remembering this conversation correctly, but I feel like you said sometimes I gotta physically put myself in a position where I look like I'm at ease in order to try to put myself actually at ease. Like if I'm relaxed like that, maybe I'm sort of forcing it to try to fake it till I make it. You didn't use that phrase.
I think that I very much probably said that, and that's really a true thing for me in those situations, is trying to kind of figure. In fact, even yesterday afternoon when I was at this thing in a landscape, which again, if you live in the West and you see that this in a landscape piano concert is coming to a place near you, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It was so cool, Andrew. It's this guy named Hunter Nowak, who's a phenomenal pianist, and they bring this it's a Steinway, it's a very beautiful grand piano from 1912, which is named Maud because his favorite movie is what is it?
Maud?
Harry and Maud, Maud and Harry. What's the movie?
Is it? Wow, that's a good. Is it
Harry and Maud?
Yeah, my brain feels broken. I know this movie and I liked this movie. In fact, I watched it on a date one time and I picked it and it was not a very good date movie.
It's
Maud. Something in Maud. Yeah.
Yeah, Harry and Maud. It's a boy name and then Maud,
and
they have an unlikely relationship.
Harold. That's why I knew. I was like, Harry sounds right but wrong at the same time.
Yes.
What are we missing here? Harold and Maud. Sorry, everybody. We just made everybody's head explode.
The piano is named Maud. Hunter said because he loves that movie and because this piano has also seen some things that it's 100+ years in existence. But anyway, one of the things. So he plays this incredible concert, and what they do that's so genius is they give everyone headphones, and they're nice headphones. Like, they work well. They're not like the free headphones that they give you on the airplane if you didn't bring your own. I don't know if they even do that anymore, but back in the day they'd give you those essentially disposable United Airlines headphones or whatever. These are not that. These are very nice, and they are hooked up to a radio tower, so you put the headphones on, you can hear the piano music perfectly, but then he keeps encouraging people, hey, if you want to wander down to, this was in Silver Falls State Park, if you want to wander down to the waterfall, do that. If you want to go just kind of move around, if you just go have a nature adventure while this piano music is happening. It's so cool. And also, I never want to go to another concert or movie, Andrew, where I'm not wearing kind of over-the-ear wraparound headphones. It was so great. It was so intimate. I'm sitting way in the back of this performance, but it felt like I was right there. Also, I couldn't hear anyone else eating their chips.
Yeah, right.
I'm a overly sensitive boy when it comes to noise intrusion, and also like if I'm in a movie and people are talking, or if I'm at something like this, I let it bother me way more than I should. And this was just so perfect because I could not hear anything anyone else was doing. I could only hear the music and then Hunter when he was talking in between the songs. So this was a breakthrough for me. I feel like this should be more common. Like if you go to a concert, they should give you a set of headphones that you could wear to just really immerse in the experience.
Like my friend Avishai, I'm trying to remember if this is actually something he did in the early 2000s or just an idea that he wanted to do, but to have like a dance night, like a club night where everybody's listening to headphones.
That's a thing now.
Yeah, and they
call it like silent disco or something.
Yeah,
silent
and it
rave.
might have been back then too. He was always Avishai was the kind of guy. He was the opposite of me in many ways, because he just couldn't get enough of life. You know what I mean? He was just he would constantly.
And you don't want any of life.
I don't want any of life.
That's the opposite of that.
He'd be like, I mean, from everything of like, let's stay up all night in what would be a German city where people are clubbing. Like, what's the
Berlin?
Yeah, like he would go to Berlin and probably not sleep for 5 days straight because the rave is still going on. But also back in New Hampshire, he'd be like, hey, I hear a cellist is doing a solo show at the plant shop on Loudon Road, and you go in and you're just like eating one
His
biscuit.
His 2 favorite words were pop and up.
What is it?
Well, like a pop.
Oh yeah, like a pop. Yeah, exactly.
Something unlikely is happening in a particular kind of context.
Exactly, and in a certain way, it would go from it. And I'm just thinking of this one particular like time where we ended up at some like nursery because it wasn't like hip or hipster at all. It was like the most like the type of thing that your dad might drag you to. And like, no offense, we had a fine time or whatever, but I was just always mesmerized by his absolute lust for life. No matter what life offered him, he was like, yes, I will take 2, please. And I enjoyed that.
I mean, my big thought being there yesterday afternoon was I got to go to more stuff. I enjoyed it so much. And by the way, it was a far drive. It was like 2+ hours from my house. Also, it was for my job because I was interviewing this guy on stage after the concert. And so but I had this feeling of like, I need to get out and do more things because I felt so kind of emotionally nourished by the experience of doing this because, otherwise on this Thursday, I would have been watching Thursday Night Football, which, by the way, no shade on that. I was also kind of sad to be missing Thursday Night Football, but I would have been at my house watching Thursday Night Football, which would be kind of a typical day for me. Instead, I schlepped all the way down to this state park and I went and I sat and I put the headphones on and I was so glad that I did. Now, the weird part of it that I didn't quite expect was, and this goes back to physicality and posture and things like that. Usually when I'm doing something like this, like if it's the Livewire radio show, I'm kind of like the first person who goes out on stage and talks into the microphone. So it like, I might be a little nervous or a little uncomfortable like right before I go out on stage, but then I'm out on stage and I'm pretty much in it at that point. This was kind of like a stress stream, Andrew, because I got to watch an 1.5-hour performance from the back of the room, as it were, knowing that eventually I was going to have to go stand on that stage and I was going to be announced. And then I was going to have to figure out what my physicality was, when I was sitting, if I was going to be leaned back or leaned forward. I had way too much time to consider the moment of going on stage, which is unusual for me. And it really did feel a little bit like a stress dream in real life. This thing is going on, this concert, with all these people there. And then at a point, they're going to say my name, and I got to go up there and do something. And I have all this time to think about it. It was too much time to think about it.
Mm-hmm. Is part of that also a control thing? Like so many of the times you're on stage, not all the time. Like even when if you're interviewing an author or like our friend Chris, when you guys were at Town Hall together here in Seattle, that is somebody introducing the two of you and you walk out on stage together. But you don't have as much time to get in your head about it. But so many of the things that you do, you've sort of constructed that universe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the previous Livewire hosts used to do as far as when they came out on stage, but I'm pretty sure that you probably over the years have constructed in a way of like, well, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to warm up the crowd, and then we'll start the show or do whatever you do. I don't pay attention.
I know you haven't attended the show. It's not something that interests you.
No,
I've
been there. I've attended the show.
I know.
But anyway, you know what I mean. Like, you and I are so different in a lot of ways, but I do think that we're kind of control freaks, maybe in different ways.
Yeah.
And I think it's maybe necessary for our various jobs. But I sort of feel like you've also sort of, when you're doing live stuff, often you've constructed that universe.
I definitely have a system. I don't know if it's a good system or not, but it's my system.
Yeah.
And it involves a kind of a sort of level setting with the audience, a kind of warming them up to whatever it is my vibe is. And in this case, this was somebody else's show. This is Hunter Nowak's show, which, again, I cannot recommend this highly enough. Like, he not only is he a phenomenal pianist, but he, in between pieces, he would sort of talk a little bit about the piece he was about to play and just give some like totally fascinating insight as to what about the song appealed to him and what maybe the composer was thinking or trying to do, a little history. Like, it was just the exact right amount of context. So people were there to see that. They weren't there to see me interview him. So that was another part of it. I get in my head about situations where people did not buy a ticket to come be a part of what it is that I'm, I guess you could say, selling. Like, people come to Livewire, they know that that's what they're coming to. So they were so sweet, the people that put this in a landscape thing on together. They were telling everyone who came into the venue, there's going to be an interview afterwards with Luke Burbank from Livewire. And of course, I'm walking in and they're also telling me this. 3 different volunteers are telling me this. And I could not stop myself from going, I don't know. I've heard mixed things about that.
Did you say that to the
Yes.
That's
to each person. And then I just continued on, leaving them.
That's great.
Leaving them flummoxed.
I'm so glad that you didn't give in.
What does this guy have against Livewire?
I'm so glad that you didn't give in to probably the urge to say, I'm just joking, that's me. I'm so glad that you just left them wondering. For real, that's the hard thing about that joke.
Yeah, I'm not good at letting it lie. That is not my that's not my forte. But anyway, it was it ended up being the good news was the Venn diagram overlap, Andrew, if you can imagine, of people who will go watch a classical piano concert in a state park and people who listen to Oregon Public Broadcasting. It turns out it's pretty big overlap.
A lot of MAGA, a lot of big pickup trucks probably in the parking lot.
Not as much that, but it was interesting talking to the executive producer of the show, who said that they actually, because the whole premise of this is they take this Steinway piano and they bring it out into like all kinds of unusual like landscapes. That's why it's called, In a Landscape is actually a reference to a John Cage piece. But they bring this out to, lots of different places, fields and mountains and by the ocean. And that means that a lot of the time they are in very red country. They are in, parts of Oregon and Washington and California, even that just, the politics are really different than the politics were probably in Silver Falls State Park, which is not too far outside of Portland. But what she was saying was it ends up being this kind of great moment of people who have very different politics sitting around because they like this music and then having a conversation and then being forced to confront the idea that, like, at some level, they are not monstrous. Both sides kind of understanding that the other side maybe, from our side, we might say that there are monstrous things happening, unfortunately, with the support of one side of this, but that the actual people at their core who might be supporting, let's say, the current president, are not themselves monsters. They have, in my opinion, unfortunately, been fooled very badly about something. But anyway, this idea that you were kind of joking about it being MAGA trucks, but I guess when they play like over in the East, it is. And it's like, wow, this is an interesting outreach program.
Yeah, I guess I was just assuming that it's all like tote bag.
I just don't think there's enough tote bag people in like Burns, Oregon.
Yeah.
So then it's like, who's going to come out to this or whatever. But
I want to back up on some other things though, and put you more in the forefront of the story once again.
Thank
We've
you.
moved
Finally.
away from that. By the way, I'm watching an OPB special right now. By the way, on
about this.
PBS.org. Yeah, it's like a full hour long. They're interviewing him. They're showing clips of, or no, I'm sorry, it's only 15 minutes long. They're showing clips of him playing. I'm seeing people with their headphones on. They're pulling this piano on a trailer through all kinds of kind of rural areas and woody areas. It looks like exactly what you're describing. But I have been. You mentioned it was exactly like a stress stream to you, like this idea of like kind of being introduced on stage and not feeling as prepared as you would if you had more hands on the rein. And I had been thinking before you even said that about your stress dreams lately, because I don't know if you know this, but the last 2 times I asked you on the show if you had any good dreams lately, you've described stress dreams, and both of them, do you realize that they both took place at a festival? You've told about
both of them did.
You told 2 dreams. So for the
one,
last
I was with Hari Kondabalu, I think.
The one with Ennui was the last one you talked about, where your producer filled in as the host. And
yeah. I just decided to not go up there and do it.
And that was it. You said it was some sort of a festival. And the one you told before that, you had to perform at some festival, and you did go on stage or something.
No, I was at the wrong festival.
Oh, the wrong festival. Yes.
Hari Kondabalu brought me to a different festival, and I was stressing because I was like, we have to get over to the real festival where I'm supposed to be doing something on stage, but we're at a different festival. And it was like, I was so anxious because I felt like we're going to miss the other festival.
And this, what you did last night, was not a festival, obviously, but it has some components of that. It was an outdoor kind of concert thing that is somewhat sprawling with people sitting outdoors. Like, I sort of feel like this literally is like one of your stress dreams come to life as you've been describing.
Well, how about tonight when I'll be at Laurelhurst Park with, I don't know, a giant number of people on picnic blankets where I'm going to be introducing stand-up comics. Another thing that is pretty close.
That's even closer,
pretty close to my dream. And then Sunday, I'll be at Domaine Druin for a Livewire pop-up, we call it Speakeasy, with John Craigie. Again, also outdoors. I was talking to Laura Haddon, our executive producer, last night. I was like, we're really on a hot streak here of Livewire in the wild.
Yeah, no kidding.
But all of those are essentially similar environment to that stress dream that I've been having.
It's all coming true, for better or for worse. Now, there's another thing that you mentioned before we got on the piano talk and stress dream talk, and I don't know how I've never realized this before, but you and I have the same garbage pickup day. We've been talking so much over the years about garbage pickup at the
and we've
curb.
never figured out that it's Thursday.
Well, I've always known what mine is. I don't know if you've ever shared what yours is. And so here's the thing. I remember you said something.
I like the idea of them, of you, for some reason. I don't know why this would be happening, but it's like you have to remove your shirt. Maybe you're suspected of a crime and they pulled you in and they're like, checking you for gang-associated tattoos.
Sure,
and it's just your torso is covered in tattoos related to your garbage pickup day. It's got the day of the week. It's got the exact time. It's got notes on the different garbage, pickup people. Like it's like a friggin' Cape Fear with De Niro, except it's all related to your garbage pickup.
or Memento.
That's probably a better reference,
maybe
or Harold and Maude.
Or Harry and Maude. By the way, Bud Cort. I always forget that that's Bud Cort from the Chocolate War.
But the thing is, and very quickly, I want to go back to us having the same wishing on the same garbage moon.
That,
But they made a movie called Maudie with Ethan Hawke and Aisling Walsh. No, it's directed by Aisling Walsh. It's got to be a Harold and Maude reboot. It's with Sally Hawkins and Ethan Hawke. It's with a lot of people that have Hawk. If they got the lead singer of The Darkness, Justin Hawkins, in there, they'd have a triple Hawking. But it looks exactly like Harold and Maude, except it's with Ethan Hawke and the woman from I believe she's the woman that was in what was that movie about the sense of water or something, where she is like the custodial person who develops a relationship with like a water
the
creature.
Shape of Water?
I believe she was the Shape of Water. I think she might have been in Blue Jasmine. But this is called Maud. This is what.
No, I don't. I'm on the Wikipedia page for Maudie. There doesn't seem to be any. I know it sounds bananas because
that's insane. If that's not supposed to be,
I've searched in the page for Harold. Nothing is popping up. It says it's a 2016 biographical drama film, starring those people. It's about the life of folk artist Maud Lewis, who painted in Nova Scotia. And
okay, I'm sorry, but like. This feels like stolen valor. Like, can we see the cover of the Harold and Maude? The cover of Harold and Maude, which I feel like has Bud Cort and whoever played Maude on it. Are they actually on the cover? I don't know. I imagine that they are.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I'm looking at movie posters here. You think that the movie posters or the movie covers of
if you look at the cover of Harold and Maude, it's just iconic. It says Harold and Maude, and then it's this young boy, Bud Cort, standing next to this older woman. Wait, is she the woman who ended up? Was she the mama who was thrown from the train years later? Is that the same?
I don't think so. I think that she would. You might be right. I was thinking, though, that if this was 1971, Throw Mama
you're right.
would be the 90s.
No, that would
right?
definitely not be the same person.
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at like Harold and Maude, it's like Harold and Maude are always featured on the cover of, let's just say, the movie poster or things like that. And they're wearing these coats, and the Harold and Maude is written in a kind of an iconic, it looks very 70s kind of font. And then you go to Maudie, and it's Ethan Hawke, and he's, again, I don't think that they're literally trying to rip off Harold and Maude, but I can't believe it wasn't pointed out, the weird similarities. Because if I look at the cover of this Maudie film, I totally have to think it's a Harold and Maude reboot.
And again, I've never heard of Maudie until 2 seconds ago, so I don't want to go hard in the paint here. That's a film term. Telling you that you're wrong about any connection, but I'm not seeing any obvious connection between the two.
I think you're right that they're unconnected, but I think I just can't believe that no time in the, because this is what came up when I was trying to find Harold and Maude. I also think I mistyped Maude. I think I typed in Maudie on accident, but this is just, to me, it's like the cover of this promotional photograph of it, the way that the thing is laid out, the fact that it's called Maudie, it just feels like there is so many ways that you could misunderstand the connection of these two films, which I think you're right. There is no connection. Anyway, I'm sorry. Can we please go back to what we were talking about before?
Yes.
Garbage day. Your garbage day is Thursday, and my garbage day is Thursday.
A long time ago, long time ago.
Thank you. I love a good Don McLean from you on a Friday. As Phil Collins famously said.
I think of it more as a Phil Collins song. I know that I belabor garbage talk too much on the show, but I didn't know that we have the same pickup day. And I always think about something you said to me, not derisively, but like somewhat like teasing me one time when I told you that I have it on my calendar to take out the garbage and on whatever the night before pickup is. Because yes, I take it out there to the curb the night before. I don't wake up early enough to trust myself to get it out to the curb in the morning.
Oh, I don't either. That's why it's freaking terrifying.
But I remember you saying, like, Andrew, you're the last person in the world who needs to put that on your calendar. It's like probably always in your head and in your heart.
I made a good point.
Yeah, like, why do you? And I'll be honest with you, this summer, I have twice forgotten to take the garbage out on Wednesday night. I think both of the times alcohol was involved. I believe Mariners might have been involved as well. I think I had gone to like Mariners games or gone out with folks or something and then come back late on a Wednesday night, a little bit in the bag or whatever.
And you forgot.
And then the next morning I wake up. But the cool thing is, like, the most important thing is that my garbage bin is emptied. You know what I mean? Recycling, yeah. I can kind of work around that. We have an extra one in the garage. The yard waste, we can compost other ways. But like my garbage bin is always full because it's a very small bin that we pay for, and it's full to the top. And if I have to wait another week, I'd be in real trouble. And I don't want to be collecting like actual nasty garbage in my garage in between pickups or what have you. So I have in the morning, I think one day it was even maybe after TBTL, I heard the sound of garbage trucks driving up and down the street, and I'm like, shit, snacks. I run out there, I put my garbage at the bin, and they didn't come until like 1 or 1:30, maybe even 2 in the afternoon, which is I really felt like I got a freebie on that one.
Yeah.
All of that comes.
And by the way, that's somebody's schedule. Think about it. If the folks doing the garbage, let's say they knock off at 2, let's say they get a real early start and they want to be done by 2:00, that's just the reality of their life. Somebody is just, as my friend Brianne would say, somebody is farting through silk. There's somebody in the neighborhood who just so happens that they're at the end of the route and that there's zero pressure on. They're getting like an entire free extra day of dealing with this.
And apparently that's basically me, at least with that black bin. I think the other bins might be a little bit more scattershot as to when they come. All of this is to ask you, and I don't think this makes for good podcasting. Anything I've done in the past 5 minutes, my apologies. This could have been a text. But since I have a calendar notification that pops up for me on Wednesday nights, and because I'm already doing this whole rigmarole, which is apparently how you say that.
Appreciate that.
Where once the bins are out at the curb, I'm taking photos of them, and then I'm putting them on social media just for proof that they were out there on time so that the city can't say my bins weren't out there if they skip me again or what have you. I'm doing all of this anyway. Why don't I just text you every time I take my bins out and just say, Luke, take your bins out? Like, we're on the same schedule.
Any any sort of additional connection that we can make outside of the show, I think is great.
Sure, yes. I mean, how would you feel if you literally started getting like a Wednesday evening text from me that just said, take the garbage out? Like,
I
is
would
that
feel
annoying?
really cared for. No, I would feel cared for. I would appreciate that because it is a thing that I regularly forget to do. And then again, because I have forgotten to do it, it means that I will wake up on Thursday morning, and for some reason, I don't know why my brain kicks in, 6 a.m. Thursday morning, but I will wake up, and it will be a very unpleasant way to wake up because the first thing that will pop into my mind is, oh, crap, the garbage. Did they come yet? Let me go out there in some cockamamie outfit. I considered doing it shirtless last week, yesterday. Today's Friday, so I guess it would have been yesterday morning because I didn't have a shirt on when I was sleeping, and I was like running through the whole scenario of like, is it scandalizing to my neighbors for me to be shirtless at 6:15 in the morning in basically my own yard, my own area? I'm not going into their yard shirtless. I would never do that. Like, is that like if one of your neighbors came out at 6:15 to bring their garbage out and they happened to be shirtless, would that be scandalizing to you, or would that just be like, it's 6 in the morning?
No, I see, because it's been really hot lately. So you see people with their shirts off jogging, like men and women. You see women in sports bras or whatever. I think that I guess it would only strike me if it was like super weather inappropriate.
I just think I'm not old enough. I'm not quite old enough for being a shirtless guy. I feel like there's an age that you get to where you either go with like, you're either a tank top guy. And by that, I mean, the kind of tank top that like the undershirt tank top. We used to use a different term for it that was kind of offensive, but like you're that guy, or even sometimes you're old guy who's shirtless when he works in his yard. And I feel like it's totally acceptable.
But I don't.
I'm
I
not
disagree
old
with,
enough for it yet.
See, this is, and I'm the wrong person. By the way, one thing I just did was I just took. You're gonna hate this. I just took my calendar reminder that I've had on here for years, and I just invited you into it. Now you and I both have the same calendar reminder at 6:00 every Wednesday evening.
Are we raw dogging your garbage calendar?
We're just together.
Love it.
You don't have to accept that if you don't want to.
Absolutely.
But I and I'm the wrong person to speak on this because I'm not a shirt off guy at all. But I don't feel like shirt off is an age thing. I feel like shirt off is you're either a shirt off guy your whole life or you're not a shirt off guy. I don't think you get to an age where you're like, now I'm comfortable taking off my shirt because I'm old. Like, I just don't think that happens.
I think
you're
right.
somebody who, like, when you were a kid, well, I mean, little kids, I think, are often doing that if you're like running through a sprinkler or something. But when you were like a 14-year-old, would it be common for you to be like marauding through the Green Lake neighborhood with your shirt off?
I've never been in like, sort of post-pubescence or even, as I was getting close to puberty. Well, first of all, I was very embarrassed because I didn't have armpit hair. And so I was like shirt on, arms down, glasses on, hair up. Like I've never been a shirt off guy. And, and unnecessarily, I am a shirt off guy enough to get into the pool or the whatever. And that could be in public if I'm, at a hotel or something. I'm enough of a shirt off guy for that, which I think is, well, that's not true. I think you enjoy that too, but just in very specific circumstances. I am not a shirt off. I'm just in my yard doing stuff guy. And I think you're right. I don't think I ever will be. I think you're either that guy or you're not.
Yeah, in the same way that I always had this fantasy of, well, someday when I'm like in my 70s, I'll do one open mic night because, like I feel like I should do it at some point in my life.
Kickstand comedy tonight, Andrew. I know someone. Yeah. I can squeeze you in. I'm the host. They can't stop me from introducing you.
I have some good raisin-related humor. I actually, that thing that I was reading to you the other day were like tweets that I didn't share with anybody, but I did at one point. I must still have it in my email. Don't worry, I'm not opening it up. But I was working, I think I've told you this before, this goes back about 2 years, where I was emailing myself like sort of ideas for bits that could be more like actually for a stand-up sort of situation. And I was trying to figure out if I could put together a couple of minutes that was related to like grocery store observations and the way people act in grocery stores. And I sort of was harboring this idea of, well, when I'm older, I'll go in, and I don't know why age had anything to do with it, but I think I thought maybe I had recently seen like a comedian making his debut as an older gentleman, and just sort of thought like the audience is very forgiving of this guy, sort of, because there was sort of a I don't know, sort of a quirk factor to it, and I was like, maybe I'll be a cute guy when I'm older, and people will cut me the benefit of the doubt or give me the benefit of the doubt, and I can do.
Honestly, you're a charity case already.
But that's a really good point. That's what I'm saying exactly.
You're ready for your moment, and they're ready to be nice to you.
So anyway, but obviously my point with this is I don't think I'm ever going to be that guy. Whether I'm, what I mean? Like, nothing is going to just change in me and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that when I'm older. And I don't think you're going to be a shirt off guy when you're older either. I don't think you're just going to fundamentally say, I've hit the age now where I do this.
No, there's no. I used to. I remember, like, the first time. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't exactly the first time, but, I was a very sort of slender person. I had a very high metabolism, and I just didn't have hardly any body fat for like most of my life, and would just eat anything I wanted, and didn't particularly like I played a lot of basketball, but I didn't ever do a sort of specific exercise practice. And then one day I realized, oh, my body is starting to respond differently to these stimuli. Like, I'm in my 20s, my metabolism is slowing down, et cetera, et cetera. And so I remember kind of embarking on a project of doing some running and stuff, and thinking, when I get down to a certain weight, then it's going to be shirt off running time, because it was summer and it was hot, and I would have my shirt on and it was uncomfortable. And then I remember, I think maybe getting down to what I thought was the shirt off weight, and doing like one run in my neighborhood. This would have been like Beacon Hill in Seattle, doing one run in shirt off and spending the entire run.
Yeah.
Thinking about the fact that I wasn't wearing my shirt. That was my one and only shirt off run of my life.
Yeah, and it
had nothing to do with the weight, because I was at the quote unquote weight the goal weight, if it were. It's my brain is never going to be comfortable with me shirt off in public, unless, again, it's a swimming pool, and that is, I'm getting in the pool, now I'm getting out of the pool.
Yeah.
Now I'm putting the shirt back on.
Well, I've told you this before. I'm so self-conscious. You were joking about hair up.
You have no idea what you're doing in college.
Or whatever. What's that?
Oh, that's Kanye.
Oh.
She's so self-conscious. She has no idea what she's doing in college. That major that she majored in don't make no money, but she won't drop out. Her parents will look at her funny.
Wonder what that guy's up to these days.
I wish I knew.
I was just going to say, I've told you this before, that I'm so self-conscious even at a pool or something like that. But when I do take my glasses off, I can't see anything. I am so like short. What is it? Nearsighted, I guess. And when I take off my glasses, everything is just blurry to me, and it does give me a separation of the world. I can sort of imagine I'm in my own little world, and that, because I know it's really happening. Everybody stops when I take off my shirt at the pool. They all stare at me, and they all cover their mouths with their hand, and they all snicker
in horror. They cover,
because
actually,
people are paying attention to me at all times.
Women clutch any small child that's near them and turn their heads away from the monstrosity.
Yes.
Thank you, baby.
I'll tell you some people that would never look away in horror from either of our bare torsos, Andrew. It's our donors. These people have, not only have they not looked away in horror, they've gone towards the problem.
No, I disagree. I feel like if you've paid money to TBTL, you have the exclusive right to never see us shirtless, actually.
Well, I guess we know. It's impossible to know what anyone's real motivations are in this world, but I have to assume it's that these folks like TBTL, they want to keep it going, and they're donating. And they're folks like John Williams in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Now, I don't know if I said this maybe last year, if we read a message from John. But first of all, John, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Andrew, if I was going to enter the witness protection program, I would probably say my name was John Williams and I lived in Midwest City.
Oh, interesting. So, yeah, Midwest City. That is,
I think
really
Midwest City really locks it down. Like, my name is John Williams. I live in Midwest City. Ask no further questions, please.
I'm trying to figure out who is we were talking about the man who gets the composer who gets all of
John Williams. You're thinking of Alan Silvestri.
Silvestri, yeah. I was
Alan
hoping,
Silvestri, the Salieri to John Williams' Mozart.
I wanted that guy. I wanted to make a joke about that guy, but I've already forgotten his name. Silvestri is his name? I'll remember.
Alan Silvestri.
Alan Silvestri.
I found out last week has written everything you got. There's the big three, Andrew, and you know this. You got Hans Zimmer, you got John Williams, and you've got Alan Silvestri, the dark horse.
That's right. So John Williams in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Next year, around this time, when we're thanking you, I am going to make the best Adam Silvestri joke you've ever heard.
Alan Silvestri, but it'd be
Close
funnier
enough.
if it's Adam at this point.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thanks also to Teresa Fabella of St. Thomas, VI. Now, VI, Andrew, I'm guessing, is that Victoria? Is that maybe... Is that... I mean, that's definitely in another country because there is not a U.S. state that's got VI that I know of.
I was thinking Canada, but no, this is in the Caribbean.
No, because the Victoria is in B.C.
Oh, right, of course.
So I'm thinking VI's got to be maybe Australia.
I think
Australia is a wonderful island.
But also, when you type in St. Thomas VI,
Oh,
you get St. Thomas Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands, doy.
So
of course it's in the Virgin Islands, Teresa.
We have not picked a place for our next TBTL-thon yet, and I have it on good authority that Teresa has room for us to stay with her.
Absolutely. Or we could crash on the beach. We could crash in a little, like a grass hut on the beach. That sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa,
for having us, Teresa.
And I think
Appreciate
Teresa's been supporting us for a while. I wonder if Teresa moved to St. Thomas semi-recently. I feel like we would have had a whole thing about St. Thomas Virgin Islands because it just sounds so tropical and so wonderful. I know who else has been donating for many years, and that's our friend Deadly Patusik out there in Hamden, Connecticut.
Thank you, Deadly.
Didn't Deadly like name their child Johnny and Bobo or something? I feel like there was a. I'm almost sure that there. No, I do remember Deadly becoming a parent, and I feel like there was some kind of there was a story about maybe there was either just the kid being subjected to too much TBTL or again possibly naming the child Luke after me. And if you didn't, Deadly, it's not too late.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to say. I think legally doesn't kick in. Probably like 15 is probably the latest you want to change a child's name to Luke. I think you've still got
Christian
time.
Burbank, the full name.
I'm just throwing it out there. I think it's a solid name. It's a very solid name. Also, thanks to Amanda Wilhelm, who's in Linwood, Washington.
Hey, thank you, Amanda.
The roller skating district.
Oh, that's.
I found out something about Becca recently that I did not know, which is that she was in a bowling league at one point.
Really?
And that we're going to have to get out and do some bowling. I did not. I mean.
I would like to.
5 years in, you find out that someone was in a bowling league. I feel like that needs to be date one kind of content.
I think date one should be at the bowling alley.
Well, now we're going to go because I love bowling. I'm not particularly great at it, but I enjoy the experience. So Amanda, I know that doesn't have a lot to do with you, except you're near Linwood Bowlaway.
Yes. By the way, one thing I'm just going to do this here. Remember Tradio, Luke? Do you remember Tradio?
I sure do. Yeah, who can forget?
One thing I could have given away on Tradio if I wanted to, and this is sort of sad, but you know what?
Buy, sell, and trade. It's Tradio.
I have a pair. This is a 6-word story. Rollerblades for sale, barely used. Remember, I really tried to be.
Fitzgerald.
I really tried to be a rollerblader. I put in the time. I went somewhere on the east side. I took lessons.
That was
right
I
before
think that
the
was,
pandemic, and then the pandemic
was
happened.
Was that Skate King?
No, it was like at a community center. It wasn't a
it
wasn't
wasn't
rink.
at the
it was
roller
at a
rink.
community center with like a bunch of kids and then some adults. It was very. I only went to one class. Then I think the pandemic happened. But then during the pandemic, I kept going to that underground garage on the university here in Seattle, and me and my buddy would do our rollerblading exercises. But I never got good at it. And I will say, I think it's time for me to get rid of my rollerblades. And so, if anybody wants a size 13 pair of rollerblades, get at me. They are used, but you can literally tell how many times I use them because you can listen to the TBTL archives, and I think I talked about it each time.
I have to assume that one of our other donors today, of course, I'm talking about Sarah Nerper of New York, New York. I have to assume, thank you, Sarah, that Sarah shares my feelings of, I would say, melancholy.
Yeah.
And a finite amount of sadness, Andrew, that you are actually like
end of an era.
It's exactly season over. It's one thing for you to back off of the rollerblading actively, but to just to give away / sell them / part with them forever. It means you are never going to reengage with this lifestyle.
The only thing that is sort of in the back of my head is if friends ever had like a roller skating party at a rink or
Yeah.
something, would I rather pull out my old roller blades and strap those on than rent a pair of roller skates? But I'll tell you what, my friend Paul is very into roller skating, and the last 2 times he's had a birthday party at the roller rink down there. Is it South Center? What's near West Seattle? There's a great roller rink in kind of Southwest Seattle somewhere. It's in White Center, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't roller skate at all. I played video games with the kids. I ate pizza. I drank soda, and I just didn't roller skate or roller
Southgate roller rink? Is
Yeah,
that
I
the
think
one
it's
you're thinking of?
Southgate. Is that? Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that's yeah. Anyway, so there's part of me is like, well, maybe I should hang on to it for the possible occasion of a roller skating party. But I've been invited to them, and I don't roller skate at them. So anyway, I don't really expect listeners to take my rollerblades off.
I
my
bet
hands,
you they'd. Honestly,
but
that could be a
I'm not
TV
selling
premium
them.
next
I'm just
year.
giving them away. But anyway.
I wonder if Kathleen Munns is interested, who's out there in Bloomington, Minnesota.
You a size 13, Kathleen? That's
Why
the
don't you
one thing.
give me the rollerblades? I'll bring them to the Twin Cities when I go out there because, of course, Friday the 26th of September, we'll be at the Fitzgerald Theater. We're doing Livewire there. Please come see us. Come say hi. Kathleen, and maybe even Eric Hamilton of Walla Walla, Washington. I know that seems far away. I consider Walla Walla a far, far western suburb of the Twin Cities.
Did I
so
send
Eric,
you 7? We think 7 people. I think I included.
Yeah, I you could tell that like some internal metronome of mine was like, we've probably finished the list here, but then look who snuck on there: Eric Hamilton,
Eric,
Walla Walla,
you
Washington,
sneaky little donor. You. Thank you so much.
and Kathleen. How many is it usually on a
it's
typical
usually
day?
6, and see the reason I noticed that is a little behind the scenes chat here.
Please, a little
I have a
BG on Andrew.
spreadsheet that has all of them on it. And what I do is I copy 6 out of the spreadsheet and send it to you during the segment. So I was just getting ready to copy tomorrow, or I guess Monday's 6 donors, and then I had Eric on for Monday, but I guess Eric's getting in on a Friday.
We can thank Eric again on Monday too. That's
Sure,
fine.
yeah.
Double
we'll
dip.
remember you. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you to our donors. We could not do TBTL without you. This is 100% listener supported. It's the only way this thing happens 5 days a week.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
I had an epiphany this week, Andrew. I had a moment of clarity as I was kind of going around my house and picking up and then dumping out. Well, first of all, picking up and then walking over to the sink and then debating, trying to somehow drink a little bit more of, but then ultimately deciding to dump out multiple cans of soda water that were spread throughout the house. Like I often will bring one to sort of bed with me and have a couple sips on the nightstand and then not wake up in the middle of the night and have more of the club soda. So then the next day I think, well, I could still drink it this morning probably, but then by, a day or two goes by and it's flat. And there were cans in various places in the house maybe even my mom and dad had been over. So that kind of ups the number of cans of club soda that are being opened, that are being unfinished. And what my parents do is they will literally put it back in the fridge and then they'll just like keep working on that thing for as long as it takes, like beavers building a dam. But I had this moment of dumping out. It had to be 3 or 4 still mostly full, now in my mind unusable cans of soda water, and I just thought, this does not feel good to me. Like this is not this is wasteful, this is spendy, and I have to imagine, even though it's aluminum, probably not environmentally great on some level. And I just thought I have to try to do something better. And of course, Andrew, that dovetailed nicely with my favorite hobby, which is buying things. So the first thing I thought was, I'd actually dreamed of this for a while. I don't know. I was at this restaurant. The first time I ever saw this particular thing, so there is a restaurant that's in the ground floor of Rockefeller Center in New York, and it's the restaurant that's kind of adjacent to where the ice rink is when they put in the ice rink in the wintertime. And they came around once when you're in various, I don't know if they do this in Seattle yet, but certainly in Europe and in various American cities that consider themselves highfalutin, sometimes the server will come over and they'll ask you, do you want water and do you want sparkling or flat?
Or still, right? Don't they say still?
Still, yeah, still or sparkling. And I think in Europe they might say flat, and then or maybe like with gas sometimes. But anyway, it's all the same. I know, right? It's all the same thing. It's like, do you want bubbles or not? And the server came over and said, do you want bubbles or not? And I said, we'll do bubbles. And then they came back and they had a pitcher, just like a regular water pitcher, and they started pouring into my glass. And I was like, thinking, oh, they totally got the order wrong. They didn't know I wanted bubbles. I thought they were going to bring over like a thing of Pellegrino and open it very theatrically. And I think I even said, oh, we wanted sparkling or we wanted, bubbles. And they said, oh, yeah, this is bubbles. I was like, what? What sorcery be this? And she was like, oh, yeah, we just have a tap. There's just a tap that's dispensing carbonated water at all times for our needs. And I was like, that's a thing. So the other day, my thought was, I need to stop buying so many. And this is the big experiment, Andrew. I am done until further notice. Peace and love. This is a serious message going out to all of my listeners on this channel.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
I am not buying any more cans of seltzer, soda water, bubbly water, sparkling water, whatever you want to call it. I'm not buying any more for my home environment for the foreseeable future, because what I'm going to do. So I started off thinking, well, maybe I'll just invest, because those things aren't cheap, by the way. The soda water is not particularly cheap these days.
Let's back up just 1 second here. So you're not talking about a Soda Stream. I mean, it has to be a device that has gas, right? You used to have a Soda Stream way back in the day. You were one of the first people to have one. This is different than this. This is actually hooked up to your water supply.
Well, I'm telling you the journey.
Okay.
So the first part was I made the decision. I've got to get off. I've got to break my seltzer water can addiction. This is not serving me, and it's not serving the environment. It's not serving my pocketbook. So I first thought, well, maybe I'll actually get one of these taps, like buy this tap. I'm sure it comes with some kind of a canister, and it hooks into your water source somehow. And I started looking around on the internet, and it's like, I think the minimum cost for one of them was like $4,500 or something. I thought, well, I don't know. Guys have people have, like taps, like a beer, like a mini keg on tap at their house. You'll sometimes go in a rumpus room or something, and somebody will have beer on tap. I'm like, how can that be that much more expensive and complicated than just something that dispenses carbonated water?
But the key is that it's hooked up to your plumbing. I mean, because beer isn't hooked. It's
the keg.
Yeah, it's a keg that you swap in and out, and so that's why I asked. And I'm sorry if I'm stepping on your story, but this idea that there's a device that hooks up to your plumbing, and then what comes out is carbonated, which means you must be swapping in and out some sort of a device to add the gas.
Tank.
But could you describe when you were looking up these $4,000 units? Is it like part of a sink? Do you have to get a special sink, or where? I kind of can't picture it. I'm kind of fascinated by it.
Let's see. I tried to type in home seltzer tap, and I typed Hote seltzer gap.
Oh yeah.
So right now I'm getting
the dance craze everybody's
AI
talking about.
overview. In the Grand Theft Auto series, there's no specific hotel named Hotel Shelter. That's what I'm getting from what I just typed in. Let's see, home seltzer tap. Let's see what it brings up here. So actually, you know what? This is a little less crazy. Now I'm seeing, maybe I was also searching under the wrong kind of terminology, because I'm seeing one sparkling water maker with gooseneck growler and draft faucet plus CO2 tank from Keg Outlet. That's still going to run you $344.
That's a keg, though, or that's tapping into your thing?
Well, it says sparkling water maker.
Okay, I'm seeing Seltza here. Seltza with an A.
Seltza tap?
Seltza tap. Actually, It says
That's a Seltza tap.
Turn on refreshment, sparkling water from your tap. So this is interesting. And now they're showing like a kitchen sink, kind of like you said, gooseneck kitchen sink thing.
I think this Seltza tap, it's like thousands of dollars.
Oh, interesting.
And not only is it very, very expensive, because this did come up on my previous search, but are you looking at this faucet that they are with a straight face?
The Seltza one?
The Seltza tap. Are you looking at? Do you have eyes on it?
Yeah, I am. Yep.
Can you imagine, Andrew? You're visiting my house. You're trying to get some kind of water from my, or do dishes or interact in some way with this unbelievably opaque piece of technology. Like, there's nothing, Becca's mom at her house in Salem has something that it doesn't have anything to do with seltzer, but it's one of those kitchen faucets that's motion activated. Have you ever seen one of these?
No, I don't
You
know.
ever seen one of these deals?
No.
It's actually a very smart idea because the idea is, you're cooking and you got junk all over your hands. You want to wash it off, but you don't want to actually touch the thing on the faucet because now that has tomato sauce all over it or whatever. So you just wave your hand under it and it starts. Yeah. It's a very smart idea that I have never operated effectively upon the first 9 tries. I am doing Tai Chi that the great masters have not even considered when I'm in that kitchen trying to turn that thing on. Like, there's nothing more confusing than someone else's high-tech faucet, whether it's the faucet in the kitchen or high-tech shower situation. Shower, what would you call that? Not the handle, but like whatever it is when you get in faucet, whenever you get into the shower and you're trying to
that's a cartoon by, I'm blanking on his name. I know it starts with an E, but I would see it all the time. He's like one of those guys who makes cartoons for the New Yorker. And one of his most famous cartoons is it says, "Your friend's shower faucet." And it's just like the most complicated device. And I always think of the one that you had in your basement in Bellingham because I stayed over one time and I had no idea how to use
ring
it.
that you pull down
so
from the
weird, yes. I had a bag of sand that weighed exactly the same amount as a bag of water that was on there. I had to switch it at the right time.
I call my basement the Temple of Doom.
That's right.
But so to the seltzer thing, I think it's expensive, and also when I looked at it, I thought I don't want to have to explain to any person who comes over every time what the flippin' frick is going on with the faucet. It's way too complicated. It also looks like it takes up a significant amount of space under the sink, which I kind of don't have a lot of extra space. All that is to say, Andrew, for once in my life, I had this dream of this idea about a home seltzer tap, and then I looked into it and I thought, that's not practical for me. What I need to do is I need to just get basically a soda stream, but not any soda stream. Of course, you know me, I have to always go for something that's a little bit more designy. So I ordered this, it's basically a soda stream, but just like a little bit higher design. I like the bottles that they make. They make these stainless steel bottles. I think it's called like an Aarke or something. The Aarke of seltzer water is long, but it bends towards carbonation. Anyway, I got this, I ordered this thing, which hasn't arrived yet, but I'm going to, I think it gets here maybe next week. But the idea is I still have, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 cans of seltzer water, and I am not going to replenish those. I'm going to finish those off, and then this thing is going to show up, which is just basically a soda stream, but a little bit more aesthetically to my liking. And I am going to, Andrew, commit to a lifestyle of carbonating my own water until further notice and see if that changes, see if it affects my soda water intake. Maybe I'll drink more, maybe I'll drink less. See what it, just how I feel. Also, there's a entire, there's an entire shelf, entire level of my refrigerator that is carbonated water right now. Because, if I go to the store, I'm buying usually 4 or 5 of those 12 packs, and then I'm loading it all into the fridge. It's actually taking up a lot of real estate in my fridge currently. And the idea that what I could do is it's a nighttime and I'm ready to go to sleep, but I want to bring a little bit of sparkling water to bed with me in case I get thirsty in the night. And I just open up this thing that I've made myself and I pour a little bit in, and then I take that. And then if I don't use it the next day, I don't feel terrible. I feel kind of guilty, I think rightfully so, when I have all of these cans of seltzer that I've opened and taken 3 sips of. So I'm not sure how this is going to impact my experience, but I'm committing to you and the listeners, Andrew, with peace and love, no more buying cans of seltzer water for the foreseeable future for me.
All right. When am I allowed to check in on this new life goal?
Tuesday.
Okay.
I think I get it on Monday.
Good. Okay.
I might get it Monday morning before the show, so I'd say Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. You should check and see if I've broken.
If you've broken your covenant yet.
Well,
actually,
it also
I'm calling the
takes
show Aarke of the Covenant, I think.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It also takes me into a whole world, Andrew, of flavorings. Have you seen these flavorings they've got?
What do you keep slipping into?
I don't know. It's like
that?
a vaguely Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yes, that's who it is. I couldn't think of the name.
Have you seen these flavorings they do for these friggin' soda waters?
Really briefly, I'm going to try to lead you back to that because my only experience with SodaStream is Genevieve. I think maybe went on kind of a similar journey years ago, and I bet you do remember this.
I do.
You had
vividly.
You had a nice SodaStream way back when you lived in Mount Baker, and then years after that, I'm going to say maybe even close to 10 years after that or something. Genevieve got SodaStream curious, but didn't want to commit. And, Genevieve always kind of like looking for a deal or whatever.
Good for her.
She found a used one on, I guess, Craigslist. Is that the one where you meet people in 7-Eleven parking lots across from the Eagles? Because that's what we ended up doing. And we met somebody in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven, and we bought the SodaStream off of her, including a bunch of her old bottles, which I thought was pretty gross. I'm like, can we at least get new bottles? And I think I eventually talked Genevieve into that. But we still have that, and Genevieve will go through phases where she makes it, but then I mostly just sits there. And the thing is, I really hate the design of this thing. It's like an early generation, and it is just like the most. And I don't get super obsessed with this stuff, but there are just certain things that have a design quality to it that just seems like you can't escape how shitty it is. And it's not even how it works, but just how it looks. Printers are a big one. Like, I have this printer sort of hidden back here in my studio, and I'm glad I have this weird cutout in my wall to hide it. I have it in a place where it's really inconvenient to change the paper on it and anything related to that. But I hate the look of printers so bad. Also, we have one of those food ninja foody things that's like you can air fry and do all this shit. And it sits on the counter, and it's just in our little basement kitchenette, so it doesn't matter that much. But it's just so inherently ugly. It's just so ugly and clunky, and I would add this SodaStream to it, although not as big. It's just this piece of plastic that we got in a parking lot that must be, the thing itself must be 20 years old now, if not more, from when the original buyer bought it. And I always thought it was going to be like let's just see if we like a SodaStream. We'll buy this cheap one off of Craigslist, and then if we use it, we'll replace it with something that is like more modern and less hideous, but still it persists, Luke. So that's where we are. Genevieve messed around with a little bit of flavoring early on. I don't think that comes into the picture anymore. I think she just makes it plain if she's making it.
Okay, so this is my question. Does that mean, because the SodaStream is still in use in your house, is that from whence all carbonated water emanates, or do you sometimes augment that with, do you guys buy cans of soda water?
I don't think we drink as much soda water as you do. I always have a water bottle with me with just still water in it. Can I make it? I don't know if you could hear that.
That runs deep.
Yeah. And so that's my move. I just have a water bottle upstairs and downstairs, and I'm constantly putting ice in it and drinking it. I like it to be very cold. So, if somebody comes over, Genevieve has a dinner party or something like that, she'll get maybe a 12-pack and then of bubbly water, and it'll stick around. And if it's in there, I'll grab one every now and then. But it's just not a constant for me, and I don't think it's a constant for her. Genevieve doesn't drink enough water, generally speaking. I got to say, I try not to be a nag, but every now and then I have to say, hey, Genevieve, how are you on your water? Because I just worry, Luke.
Well, that's one of the arguments for, I guess, the seltzer water movement and everything, is that if it's kind of fun, it's kind of a treat. Sometimes, depending on the flavor, it might encourage a person to drink a little bit more water, because instead of it just being, again, something that you feel like you have to do, it's like, oh, it's afternoon, I'm a little thirsty, let me treat myself to some of this seltzer water, and therefore I will be more likely to consume it. Again, I'm curious what this will look like in my own life now that I won't just be able to open a can. I do also think I remember from my SodaStream, it takes almost no time to make one of these things, right? Like, I think this thing comes with like 2 of the little bottles.
Yeah.
Although, of course,
always keep one in the fridge if you want.
Well, you would love this, Andrew.
Yeah.
This particular company makes also they make a stainless steel to-go bottle. So I think it's a lot like what you would just, a typical stainless steel water bottle, but it's the size of the like opening that you need to screw it into to carbonate it. So the idea being, you can carbonate your water and then take it with you in this water bottle and go out about your day. And if you think I didn't buy 2 of those, you, my friend, are...
No, that's got to be the move, because you're not going to make a big one and then pour it into a glass with ice. Like, here's my deal, and I don't. You wanted to come back around to talk about the flavorings too, Sebastian, but I
these flavorings,
and so I don't want to. I feel like
for less. You've been to this place.
I feel like I got you off topic here, but and I want to be a supportive friend, and I think I am in a lot of your ventures.
Thank you for calling it a venture.
I am very dubious that this is going to actually be a lifestyle change that sticks. And here's why.
Okay.
I just think a lot of people try to talk themselves into the idea that a Soda Stream is a good replacement for the feeling they get when they crack open that can of soda. And I'm not even saying this as somebody who drinks a lot of them. I just said I don't drink a lot of them. But you said it's sort of a treat or whatever. And I think a big part of that for you and people who are kind of into that and drinking a lot of those cans of whatever brand it happens to be, I think it's like pulling out of the fridge and cracking it open and getting that crack. And I just don't think you got to get that crack, Luke. And I just don't think that part of the experience is replicable. And in fact, something like this appeals a little bit more to my personality because it is a little bit more like, hey, I'm gonna do this tonight. I'm gonna make the coffee for tomorrow morning. I'm gonna make 2 bottles to go of my bubble water, and I'm gonna make my ice trays. Right now I'm doing 2 of those anyway on a regular nightly basis. Now I'd throw in this other one, but I'm not particularly drawn to bubble water, so I'm not doing it. I just think that these things tend to not stick because I think the canned system, while you are totally right, it's not great for the pocketbook and it's not great for the environment to be burning through all of those. I think that it just isn't replaceable in that way that is convenient and still makes it feel like the treat that you want it to be.
Yeah, I'm already imagining the experience of going to the refrigerator and opening it and pulling out this little bottle of carbonated water and then pouring it into something and then adding a little eyelet dropper, because that's the thing. I've now gone into the world. I haven't bought any of it, but there's a whole world of the flavorings. And I don't think I'm particularly interested in trying to make it taste like a Coca-Cola or something.
Those are the worst.
I mean, if you've there is a particular friend of ours who how do I put this? I'm trying to be vague. But we have some mutual friends who I think have really embraced the SodaStream lifestyle and the flavoring of the SodaStream lifestyle. And I think maybe because of environment, maybe because of budgetary concerns or whatever. But like every time I'm offered hey, you want me to throw a little bit of this in there? If I'm at their house, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Because I feel like those flavorings that are supposed to make it taste like some kind of a cola or a Mountain Dew or whatever, they've just never actually done that job in my mind.
For that particular flavor or any flavor?
Well, I guess that's the these are the only people I've known who have stuck with the lifestyle. I feel like everybody who gets a SodaStream, maybe it even comes with some sampler pack or something. There's this promise, this dream of a brave new world where you're just going to be able to make an unlimited amount of Coca-Cola in your own home.
Yeah, I know those flavors.
You do it one time, you're like, this tastes like absolute dog water.
Yeah, a little bit of lime, which you can actually just do with a lime, or like Genevieve would buy, I think maybe raspberry flavoring that you'd put a little bit in.
Sure.
Too. I'm trying to think. She
just
adds
don't
it.
get overly ambitious. Just a little fruity flavor will be just fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
you said, a little lime. That's all.
And for me, I would just drink it plain, and then if I wanted flavor, like literally squeeze a lemon or a lime in there. I wouldn't even mess around with the.
Well, that's an interesting idea. Maybe that's what I could do is just like have a lime on deck and just give it a little hit of that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about what I do know is that this is like similar to black coffee. Like I wish my mind were quiet enough that I could just enjoy black coffee. I could just. That I'm very impressed by people like you that's all they need in the morning is a cup of black coffee. Like I feel like my need to be entertained from a flavor standpoint is just so gaping that it's like, and the same thing with just plain seltzer water. That's just not enough for me anymore. I had a Topo Chico moment because Topo Chico has so much minerality in it that I was like, this is enough for me.
Yeah.
But as far as this stuff goes, I don't think I want to try to get too because if you go online, you start looking at all the flavoring you can add to these. I mean, that's its whole own industry, and it's madness. So I want to figure out a simple thing that's just a little lime additive or a little something, or again, maybe it's actually just a bit of fresh lime. But this will be something I'll find out this week. What is the experience like, Andrew? Is the cracking of the can is that it turns out the most important part of the entire experience?
Because I drink beer. I don't know if you know that.
Speaking of,
Exactly. You saying that made me think of beer, and we should probably just wrap up the show. I don't need to extend this more, but like there are certain things that I'm about to spin off into a totally different topic, but I like cans of beer, and one thing that I really enjoyed when I was in Minnesota and you got a can of beer is it was a 12-ounce can of beer. It was just a can of beer. In the Pacific Northwest, somehow tall boy culture totally took over. It is really hard to get, unless you're buying a 12-pack of something, it is almost impossible to get like a 6-pack of 12-ounce light beers. I mean, you can get 12-ounce, Bodhisattva or your IPAs and all your craft beers or whatever. But if you just want a Coors Light, a Bud Light, a Miller Light, something along the lines of that, they're all, or Rainier, PBR, they're all sold in tall boys. And it's like, am I going to drink more than 16 ounces of beer tonight? Yes. Of course I am. But I don't want to drink it where the bottom half of that thing feels like a chore. And there's just like all these little things in my life that are a little particular, right? And that's why when we were done with the TB Telethon and we drove back to the Twin Cities, and I had that one night where I just basically crashed out with me and a 6-pack of hams and the Mariners in my hotel room and those little 12-ounce cans of classic looking hams. It was like so perfect, and I can't recreate that here. So all of that is to say, I wouldn't want a growler of Bud Light in my refrigerator that I pulled out and then poured into a glass. You know what I mean? There are just certain things that I like to drink in certain ways. And for me, for beer, it'd be a 12-ounce can or a 12-ounce bottle. I like glass bottles. I absolutely hate it when you go to a bar, and usually this is going to be a dive bar, and you order a bottle of Miller Lite or Bud Light or something, and they give you a can that's in the shape of a bottle. Have you ever seen these? You're not a big beer drinker.
Yes. No, it's an aluminum bottle.
They call it a bottle, but it's not a bottle. Yeah. It's a can in the shape of a bottle. Like, it's like the McRib of bottles. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, no, I ordered a bottle. Like, I don't want to put this piece of metal, this wide mouth metal up to, it's such a bad feeling. And so anyway, I think when it comes to consuming these types of things, and I don't think you're that dissimilar from me, not with beer, but with other things as well, I think the experience of drinking it is a certain thing. And I just think that you like drinking cans of bubbly water, even if you don't finish them. But again, I'm not trying to shit on your new plan.
No, I
just do think that there's more going on here than just the pocketbook.
Well, we're going to find out next week, Andrew. That's what we call a forward pro.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week, I hope that it's from a female. Oh, man, it's not from a female.
All right. I know we're running a little short on time here, so
we're good. I told you noonish, but I'm not.
Okay.
We don't have to.
Well, we're moving into ish now, so I'm
yes, exactly.
Worried.
I got a couple of good voicemails here. I'm going to play this one because I think this actually rounds out the week nicely. Earlier in the week, I was telling you about my fly infestation here in the basement.
Right.
I mean, this has been a hell
I meant
of a
to introduce
week.
you as Lord of the Flies one of these days ago, and I forgot to.
One fly, two fly. I almost asked, do we have any fly-related drops? And it occurred to me, yes, it's like half your library.
We sure do.
But I will give you a quick update on that because, recap for folks who didn't follow this whole ordeal. A few weeks ago, we had a bad smell in our wall. We realized, probably a rodent died in there. It kind of took us a while to kind of figure everything out. And then about a week or two after that, we started to get a lot of flies in that same area. The smell had gone away, but it was very clear what had happened was some flies laid some eggs or some larvae or whatever you call it, laid eggs, I guess, which turned into larvae probably inside that dying creature in our wall. And then this area of our basement has been fly ridden. And it was just so gross. We had all these fly strips hanging from the ceiling that were collecting these flies that would then die on the vine in front of us. They would buzz for an hour. It was so gross.
Grim.
And that it's so grim. That's what I just kept saying. It's so grim. And it's been dying down. And then this morning we woke up. I hung up a brand new strip last night. We woke up this morning. One fly, Luke. We were down to one fly on the strip. Things are finally... So it seems like these flies had about a 1-week cycle, but I've been hearing from a lot of people who live in homes where, critters get into their attics and it's almost like a yearly thing, like a critter dies and they're dealing with flies up there or whatever. And then we have this voicemail from Carolyn, which I want to say, when I told my fly story the first time, I did hear from some people who were like, "That was an amazing story. Should have had a trigger warning on it because it got pretty gross at times." And I want to give that trigger warning here before we play Carolyn's voicemail that involves pestilence.
Hi, beautiful biz boys. This is Carolyn in Encinitas. Andrew, when you were talking about your fly infestation, I was reminded of a complete horror show in my house that was so similar. I was making breakfast one morning, and all of a sudden, maggots started dropping out of the hood above my stove into the food that I was making. And I was like, holy what is going on? And I ripped apart the whole thing, couldn't find the dead body, had no idea where these maggots were coming from, but I had dripping maggots from this particular area in my kitchen for at least 2 or 3 days. And then it just went away. And then I proceeded to get flies, both my upstairs and my downstairs, and they were these weird giant flies that I don't normally see outside, and they were super sluggish, so I could just easily get them with a tissue. And so I was just constantly reaching over and tissue killing flies that were gathering on my windows, and that went on for like a week or two, and then it all just went away. I never had the stinky smell, but I had maggots dropping into my stove or onto my stove, and it was repulsive, and we could not solve it or figure it out. All right, love the show, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. What you do is so important.
Yeah, been hearing a lot of that from listeners, and also my own research. It's like you get, I think they're just black flies is what they're called, but they are big and they are sluggish. It's interesting to hear you say that, Carolyn, because that's one thing I noticed too. It sort of seemed like when they were first kind of maybe coming up from our floorboards, I could just easily trap them and kill them. Or grab them with the vacuum, and they just sort of seemed a little bit sluggish. And so, yeah, I think they're are they blowflies or black flies? I'm not sure, but they are gross.
Were they sleepy from did they just have their Thanksgiving dinner?
Yes,
they're the equivalent of the tryptophan, which I think actually has been debunked. But you wonder about the evolutionary advantage of being a slow fly. How did that get rewarded enough that they're still around if you can just kill them with a tissue?
Yeah, well, that's a good point, but I do think there's power in numbers as well, and they just have so many. Genevieve was looking it up, and it said something like for every breeding pair of flies you kill, you've potentially eliminated 25,000 eggs or something absolutely ridiculous like that. So I'm like, well, we got to keep killing them. She's like, yeah, but it just shows you how quickly they reproduce. It's kind of like there's like I said, power in numbers. They can just recreate themselves so quickly and on such massive numbers. And then I don't want to get into the cycle of life. I guess the point of flies is they do break down the dead animals though. And now we probably have less of a dead animal in our wall because of these
that's
flies.
a good point. And you just had to basically trap little microscopic amounts of that dead animal by way of the flies. So the flies were basically they were reducing the amount of dead animal, but then that was now in them, or they were part of it, and now you caught them and you took them out. So you were taking the dead animal out one fly paper strip at a time. One fly at a time.
I'm just so glad. I'd been waiting for this moment, and it was last night where I could start taking down some of the fly paper we had up, and there was a little area. We have a little kind of a wet bar area, but it's just kind of a cart, sort of a wooden cart that Genevieve bought and assembled a long time ago, and that's usually where we just sort of keep some liquor and an ice bucket and various stuff. But that had basically been taken over with fly removal stuff. Unopened packages of fly poison or a fly swatter and all that, and any counter space around this whole area. I kept wiping it down, but I was just I couldn't be in the area. It just felt like fly central, right? And then last night when I took down the last piece of fly paper that had flies connected to it, took it outside and just cleaned the hell out of everything, then rehung one clean fly paper up just in case, and that's where we caught one overnight. But it just felt so cathartic to be able to finally reclaim this space and just scrub. I just can't think of anything that is dirtier than what happened there. You know what I mean? And animals that were born of death coming into my little kitchenette area and landing on things and walking on things. And I'm just like, oh, like to think about it, I get so upset. And so I did, as they were saying at the beginning of the pandemic, a deep clean last night.
You merely adapted to the carcass. I was born in it.
Human fly.
Did one of the flies have a little Bane mask on?
It did. Anyway.
I wonder how wrong I got that. I don't even know if I've seen that movie.
What does he say? Like, he says
basically, you adjusted to the darkness. I was born in it. But why do I make him sound like?
I think it's you adopted.
You adopted the darkness. I was born in. But who am I? I'm making him sound like a Pepperidge Farm cookie commercial spokesman.
But he does have a weirdly high voice.
What if Bane was selling Pepperidge Farm cookies?
I'd buy it. You think the darkness is your hell? I hate doing this because I've heard other people.
You adapted to Milano cookies. I was born in them.
How do we get up to Milano? Let's see.
Isn't that a Pepperidge Farm cookie?
Oh, it is, yes. I think darkness is your alley. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man, and then it was nothing to me but blinding.
Oh, because Bane was the baby that was living in that weird pit of horror, right?
I think so. I don't remember those movies that well. All I know about those movies is they were good, but they were all twice as long as they should have been. It should have been chopped up into like 6 movies. It drove me crazy. You're like, oh, this is a great place to wrap it up. And then you're like, oh, we still have 90 minutes left to go. Fantastic.
You merely adapted to the editing room. This is my Christopher Nolan impression. I was born in it.
It's really good. It's really good.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's going to bring us to the end of our broadcast week. But we'll be back here on Monday with a whole lot more, like a bot fly. We're going to be reproducing content over the weekend at a shocking scale, and we're going to be ready to bring it to you on Monday. More of it than you ever wanted. So please do join us for that. In the meantime, have a great Friday. Take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Hey, I can say this. Go Seahawks. And we'll see you Monday. And please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.